early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month, I got that pull. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
And this next one might be funny, or it could be sad. It's Snoop Dogg. He has been signed to be color commentary for the damn Paris Olympics. Let me show you what's going on with him. And is he going to show up to this shit high?
Next up, Snoop Dogg, the legendary rapper, is taking on a new role, and that is joining us later this summer in Paris. What? That's right, the Snoop deal, Double G himself, live from France, bringing in his own Snoop style to NBC and Peacock's primetime Olympic coverage. Throughout the games, the rappers are going to explore iconic Parisian landmarks, attend Olympic competitions, and get a chance to talk with all the athletes. And we've even got a little preview as to what we can expect.
Oh, wow. What is this move called?
That's an aerial, a cartwheel without your hands.
On that little bitty piece of wood right there? That's what it sounds like, right? Can you explain to me what this is? What is that? What is that?
That is an epic celebration. What are you loving about this?
Let it go. Just let it go. L-I-G. I want to see this moment again in Paris.
You're going to be celebrating with us.
Yeah,
Pinky swears. Bang, bang, pinky gang. We in here. I will see y'all in Paris. Bonjour!
Monique, I'm going to give this one to you first. But it's just ironic. All the subjects I'm covering today have a parallel to Cat Williams. Now, I know Cat Williams and Snoop get along well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll jump on out there and say it. White people love Snoop because he's a caricature. You know, he's that guy, that uncle that walk around high or drunk and just don't give a F. But having said that, I know a little bit about Snoop behind the scenes. Now, he definitely gives back to our community. He's got a lot of things he's doing with football for young men. He definitely does that. But do you feel like this is a caricature pick in having Snoop Dogg host the Olympics?
That's for who? For me?
Go ahead, Moochie. Let Moochie.
For you, Monique?
Yeah, go.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Moochie.
Okay, I watched some of their commentary last year. Snoop and Kevin Hart had something on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff was funny because they was looking at different events that we wouldn't normally talk about. And I thought it was funny. So he's gonna spice it up where he's bringing awareness to different events that happen, and then you might end up getting into it, just like he showed the horse crip walking last year. So yeah, I think it's gonna bring a funny side to it and get you into new events that they're doing. They're doing breakdancing this year. So yeah, I want to see. I'm curious. My interest is piqued.
Larry, is your interest piqued to see Snoop D-O-double-G host color commentary for the Paris Olympics?
I watched him during the last Olympics, and I thought he was entertaining. Him and Kevin Hart were entertaining. This is one of those things I think that's challenging for Black artists, and this is not a knock at you, LAmont, at all. But I think it's one of those things where it's like if you go in there, if you take someone like Snoop, you say, hey, we're gonna do color commentary, and he goes in there and puts a suit on and does the traditional commentary, people will call him a sellout and say he's not Snoop anymore. But if he goes in there and he does he's just how he is, and does his whole Snoop Dogg thing, then people are going to say that he's a caricature. But I mean, what he is at this point is he's safe for white people. Yep. They've known Snoop long enough. They feel comfortable with Snoop. They don't think that Snoop has essentially given white people a ghetto pass. They're allowed to go and see a world that they don't generally have access to. They get to hear language they don't generally get to hear in their everyday life. They get to see the reactions to Black people who don't normally see certain things. Black people, in most cases, I don't do equestrian sports. Now, that's not always the case. I know my sister-in-law did dressage for years and years and years. It's a very, very expensive sport. And so most people most Black folks just don't do it. And so I think Snoop Dogg, not only I think will he bring in Black folks to watch certain things that they may not have watched before, it also gives white people the opportunity to see how Black people respond, And that's always the tricky part when you're someone like Snoop, because you're not just representing yourself, you're representing your entire people, And white people are going to look at this and the way he responds, the way he acts, they're going to think that all Black people respond to this like in the same way. And that's simply not the case, but that's sort of what's going to happen, Yeah.
So, Larry, two things can be true. And guess what you just did for me? You completely define a caricature for white people. Completely.
To a certain extent, yes. Because he does play a character. So I don't want to call him a caricature. I would rather say that he is playing a character because he's Calvin Brothers. He's not Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is a character that he plays. No one believes, if you listen to Snoop Dogg's music, no one in their right mind believes that he's out there shooting and murdering and killing all the people and selling all the drugs that he's doing in his music. That's a character that he plays. It's like Rick Ross. People think that Rick Ross is being fake. He's a character. He plays a role. No one believes that Sylvester Stallone is really Rambo. He's a character.
Thank you. You continue to make my point. He's not going up there by his real name. He's going up there as Snoop.
Right. Exactly. So I think that's why I don't want to call him and maybe I'm nitpicking here and just being, and maybe it's just semantics. I don't like to say he's a caricature because to me that has a negative connotation to it. I think he's a character. So I know it's nitpicking. I just don't like that because of the negative connotation to someone being a caricature.
So that's why I said two things can be true. A caricature doesn't mean it's negative, but people tend to associate it for being negative. But that's not the whole deal with it. Monique, you get last word on it. You've heard some thoughtful opinions. What do you think?
Yeah, it's funny because there's like bits of what Larry said. I was having the same thoughts. Some of the comments, why not, brought up a good point as well. I agree with some people saying. Look, I like Snoop. He's been in the industry for 20 something years now. I can't remember what time frame it was that he crossed over, but essentially he's crossed over to mainstream white audience a long time ago, really. And definitely someone else said Martha Stewart definitely helped with that, I think. When they collabed together many years ago. Look, it's you can look at this so many different ways. I'm gonna bring up 2 points. On one point, it's beneficial for both, right? It's beneficial for Snoop and it's beneficial for the Olympics. Snoop, more exposure for him, more money. Olympics, more exposure, more viewership, higher numbers, all that good stuff. It's equally beneficial. Now some will say, and I did have this thought, it's crazy, like how much society uses Black people for their content and for their viewership,
culture.
They infiltrate our culture, and our culture is mainstream culture. Black culture is mainstream. It is. In so many different ways. There's so many different examples. And, some would say we do benefit from it in a sense, but then we also kind of don't at the same time, which is kind of a weird thought. It's a weird thing to kind of realize, but, shout out to Snoop. He's been able to maintain in the industry for 25 plus years, 30 years. He's still on top. He's crossed over. A lot of people spend their entire lives trying to cross over to mainstream. So, hey, again, it's in the grand scheme of it, it's a equally beneficial business deal, basically.
Yeah. I'll close it with this. I am a fan of Snoop. And when I opened up talking about the subject, the reason why I talked about how much Snoop gives back to us is because of what Monique Nicole just said. He is putting himself out there as Snoop Dogg, which, like Larry said, is palatable for white people.
Yep.
But you know what Snoop does on the back end? He is damn near helping minorities come up in so many different ways. So he's doing it the way I would like to see it done. And shouts out for him helping put more eyeballs on the Olympics. That too is helping young kids who wouldn't have watched the Olympics because their parents wouldn't have paid attention to it, get exposed to other things that they might can do to help them out. So shout out to Snoop. I'm a watch, and I think it'll be very entertaining.